Good morning, traders. I am Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, June 3rd. We begin a new month of trading after markets dropped, then rose to ultimately end mixed during regular trading on Friday to close out the week and the month of May. The Dow jumped 574 points, or more than 1.5%. The S&P 500 swung into green to close up by 42 points, or 0.8%. The Nasdaq attempted to claw back from session lows to end almost flat, down 2 points, or 0.01%. Bill, let's get into Monday and the month of June with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, good morning, Emily. How are you? There's a lot going on today. First off, the S&Ps. The S&Ps are higher. We're showing a gain of over 0.2%, up 0.22%. It's a big week for the markets. We got a lot of employment data coming out. We got the JOLTS report tomorrow. You got the ADP report on Wednesday. You got the jobless claims on Thursday, and of course the big one, the non-farm payrolls on Friday. And that's going to be a key one. But there's also an ECB meeting this week, and I believe it's Wednesday they're going to be making their announcement. So we got to keep our eyes out on that. One thing over the weekend, NVDA and AMD were at a conference together, and they both presented roadmaps on their chip development, which is really helping keep the AI enthusiasm peaked right now. And so that's really positive. And then we had a lot of good guidance, commentary coming out. Friday after the close, Autodesk, ticker ADSK, they released their sales figures for next quarter. That they were positive. Honeywell released some this morning, which were positive. JetBlue did as well. I'll get more into that in a minute, but that's all positive stuff. And then you got the ticker GSK, the drug manufacturer. Stock's down hard this morning. It's taking a hit because the courts came out and they said that they believe that there's a link between the Zantac and cancer, and they're going to allow lawsuits to go through. You look at it, shares of GSK, and they're down 10% this morning. So not good for those guys. But you look at the global markets overall, and we are seeing some positive action. I mean, I'm looking at the DAX right now. The DAX is up 129 points, or 0.7%. The German manufacturing PMI came in at 45.4 for May. You got to remember, April was 42.5, so that's a big uptick. Then you get the FTSE. The FTSE's up 14 points this morning, which is about 0.2%. The S&P survey and manufacturing in the UK increased to 51.2 in May. That's up from April's reading of 49.1, so that's positive. Paris, the CAC in Paris, that's up 0.3% this morning as well. And then you look last night in Asia. Asia was rather green. I mean, you look at the Nikkei. The Nikkei jumped 435 points. That's 1.13%. Look at Japan's manufacturing economy improved for the first time this year during the month of May. So that was a positive shot in the arm for the Nikkei. And then you got Hong Kong. Hong Kong jumped 1.79%, or 323 points. The Shanghai was down 8 points, or 0.27%. The key thing here was the China PMI data that came out late last night showed that activity rose in the most in 23 months in May. So, that was rather positive. And then we're keeping an eye on oil, because remember on Friday I mentioned that there was an OPEC meeting going on. Now oil right now is, it's mixed. It's flat. WTI is down a penny. Brent is up 6 cents. So it's really kind of directionless. But at that OPEC meeting on Sunday, they agreed to extend the production curbs into 2025. Extending production curbs into 2025. That's what it said. But then on the contrary, they're also talking that the UAE, United Arab Emirates, they're getting their quotas increased because they did all the stuff to increase their production capabilities, and they wanted to get paid for that. They wanted to make some revenue off of that investment that they made. So they did get an increase. It's going to be phased in for the quotas. And Saudi Arabia appears to be wavering from its voluntary production cuts. They're talking about scaling back their voluntary production cuts. So you look at the headline, and it's keeping oil prices stable. But you look at the details, and you're like, yeah, that they're increasing production. So that's what I see for you in terms of a morning markets update report, Emily.
Bill, a lot to dive into here on this morning, as you mentioned, and you did, give us a preview of some things you're going to give us additional details on throughout this show. And we're going to get to earnings action, economic events, and the day's other market moving headlines. And you even mentioned a few things that happened over the weekend. You're able to keep track of lots of information because you're using your NewsWare. One of those areas is earnings action, as I mentioned. And Bill, give us a rundown of what we should be watching in terms of earnings on this Monday morning.
A little quiet on the earnings front. We are in June, and June's typically a light month. But this morning we did get Science Applications International. They did release their earnings this morning. Now they met expectations, but they did it on higher revenue. You look at the stock; it's up, 0.8%. So I guess it's viewed as positive. Upcoming this afternoon, we have Health Equity, ticker HQY, Henry Quinton Yellow, EPS is 66 cents, expected move is 8.08%. You also have GitLab, ticker GTLB, Grace Tom Larry Boy. Their EPS is to lose 4 cents with the expected move of 17.27%. And then tomorrow morning, we have Bath and Body Works, ticker BBWI, Boy William India. Their EPS is 33 cents with an expected move of 8.32% when they release, Emily.
And Bill, keeping an eye on Health Equity today, because that was your pick of the day on Friday. By the end of the show, we're going to see how that call worked out and how the month of May ended up. So stick with us till the end of the show. Now we're going to get to the day's economic events. They really do pick up this week, as you mentioned, key jobs reports this week. But in the meantime, how are we starting Monday? What economic events should we be watching?
This morning at 10 a.m. we get the ISM manufacturing PMI data coming out. We also have construction spending. These are the two reports. The PMI data is the one I'll be focusing on. And listen, the key economic data point for the week is really the non-farms payroll. Estimates are indicating a slightly stronger pace of job growth compared to the previous month. Estimates are calling for that figure to come in at 178,000 new jobs for May. We'll have to see if that holds true or not. The ECB, they're having their meeting this week, and the Feds has their meeting on June 12th, their announcement on June 12th. So we're going to be blocked from hearing from any Fed speakers this week. But that's what I got going on for you this week and today for economic data, Emily.
And we'll be following all of that economic data throughout the week. And again, you're doing this because you have your NewsWare. You're breaking it down into alerts. And even things like news happening over the weekends, trying to catch up on a Monday morning, you're clearly seeing all of this information. You're looking at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, other catalysts, looking at stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks, your Dow 30 stocks, which gives you a good feel for the trading day ahead. So Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Okay, I'm doing a quick data check here. I'm showing on my Dow stocks, I'm showing 21 higher, 6 lower, the rest unchanged. I'm showing gains across the board in my FANG stock. So I really do think with this, opening gain is going to stick for that we were seeing for the S&Ps. You look at some of the news behind the stories, like Apple, ticker AAPL. They got that Worldwide Developers Conference that kicks off on June 10th. That's next week. Apple typically runs into this, runs hotter into this event. So, it's something to keep an eye on. You look at shares of Apple, 192, it could be, breaking 200, as we get closer to that, developers event. Meta Platforms, ticker META, they're going to be settling with the state of Texas over a lawsuit about facial recognition data that was being used in Texas without the people's permission. We're talking Tesla. Tesla issued a statement. The company issued a statement that say regarding that ISS shareholder services recommendation against Elon Musk's pay package. They said it was flawed and it was due to a technical misunderstanding. Okay, all right, that's your opinion. We're talking Dow Jones 30 stocks. We're talking Verizon, ticker VZ. Verizon and Samsung are holding a business innovation session tomorrow in New York City. It's being held at Radio City Music Hall. This could be something interesting to come out of this. I want to point out Visa, Palo Alto Networks, WDC, Lam Research, Sentinel. They're all going to be presenting tomorrow at the Bank of America Tech Conference. Something to keep an eye on. Microsoft. I'm seeing some conflicting reports on Microsoft. Now there was a news report saying that Microsoft did a settlement with this trade union in Europe and European regulators that would provide a multi-million euro payment to that trade association, but then the trade association denied it. So I'm questioning it, but I'm looking at shares of Microsoft. They're up 0.4% this morning. We're talking merger news. Edward Life Sciences, ticker EW. Benton Dickinson's going to be acquiring their critical care product group for $4.2 billion. We're talking Paramount Global, ticker PARA, Paul Apple, Richard Apple. Okay, Skydance revised their offers. We knew that Friday, but we didn't have some of the details. Some of the details are now becoming a little bit clearer. They're going to give non-voting shareholders the option to sell the stock at 15, essentially, and they're still going to give a nice little payment for the stock to Sherry Redstone. And I got to dig into this a little more because I could have sworn I saw that Sherry Redstone will still have controlling interest. I can't believe that. But but there's still activity going on in Paraglobal. Now, Skydance there offers $5 billion. You look at the offer from Sony Apollo, that's $25 billion. It's a wide difference. Okay, what else do we see? Well, let's talk guidance news because this is hot this morning. Honeywell, ticker HON, Henry Oscar Nancy. We're looking at the stock. It's up 1.14% this morning. Honeywell raised their Q2 guidance. They raised it to $2.35 to $2.45. Their old guidance was $2.25 to $2.35. Now the street estimate's $2.49, so it's getting a little closer. So Honeywell, they came out with a nice guidance raise this morning. Autodesk, ticker ADSK, they came out with this Friday afternoon. Autodesk sees Q1 EPS coming in at $1.87. Street estimates $1.74. You look at shares of Autodesk this morning; they're trading higher by 7.64%. And then you got JetBlue, ticker JBLU. Listen, JetBlue's up 2% this morning. They see Q2 revenue down a negative 6.5 to a negative 9.5. But the thing was, they were negative 6.5 to negative 10.5. So that's actually less. So, JetBlue shares are trading higher this morning by 2% after that new guidance figure they coming out this morning. We're talking shareholders meetings. I don't see any shareholders meetings, but I got to point out Snowflake, ticker SNOW, Sam Nassy, Oscar William. They're holding their 6th annual Data Cloud Summit today. That could create the catalyst for some press releases, which may move, which could be beneficial to the stock this morning. So we want to keep an eye on shares of Snowflake. Snowflakes are up 0.5% this morning. In terms of catalyst calls, I'm not seeing any real catalyst calls, but I did see, Best Buy received a double upgrade from Citibank this morning. They're really liking the turnaround. They think there's a nice opportunity here in the stock to get in. Now, if you think about it, it does make sense because Best Buy is a big seller of iPhones, and that new iPhone's coming out in September, and that new iPhone's going to have AI-powered capabilities on it, and that's like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to push people to upgrade because they want that. They want something besides a better camera. Now they're coming out. I'm sure they'll have a better camera, but they're also going to be able to tout some AI capabilities, and I think Best Buy will be able to benefit from that new opportunity of new iPhones. You look at shares, shares of Best Buy, ticker is BBY, boy yellow. But that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us to start June?
HPE, Henry Paul Edward. This is Hewlett Packard. Their earnings are out Tuesday afternoon. EPS is 38 cents. Expected move is 11.61%. You're looking at Friday's call volume, 81,238 versus put volume of 16,464. 81,000 to 16,000. That's a big differential. Looking at the call open interest, 313K versus 144K. I'm rounded it off, yeah, but I mean that's solid. That's a solid indication that it's really on the call side. Now the major brokers are positive on the stock. They're raising price targets on it, not significantly, but they are raising them. But I'm rereading last quarter's earnings report. Now, last quarter's earnings, the stock did fall. I need to point that out. But we're trading this before the earnings. But I see that the CEO said in a Barron's interview that they saw an uptick in AI servers. Now, this was done in January. He said, in fact, that they are seeing significant momentum was the term he used. He said HP Enterprises has had $4 billion in AI-related orders since the start of 2023, bringing its backlog to $3 billion, up $500 million from last quarter. So yeah, we could see some action in HP today as it gets ready to move into its earnings. You're looking at the stock. I really want to get in 1770 area. 1770 areas really want to get in at. I think we can easily make our 1% on this thing. I'll be watching it. If there's some weakness, I'll probably start buying, but I just got to wait for that right entry price. And I'm thinking 1770 or under if possible. My fingers are crossed, but I'm hopeful. But that's my pick of the day for you today. Hewlett Packard, ticker HPE, Henry, Paul, Edward, Emily.
HP, it is today, leading up to earnings, a good space in front of their earnings, which is sort of what you did on Friday. And we're going to recap that pick of the day in just a moment. So stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
LL Flooring, ticker LL, mail letters to shareholders highlighting their qualified directors. Stryker, ticker SYK, acquires partly head soft tissues fixation products from Artelion. MicroStrategy, ticker MST, are to pay $40 million to the District of Columbia to settle a civic complaint. ARM, the CEO came on and said, ARM will capture 50% share of the personal computer market in 5 years. Ooh, that's positive for them, but I don't know if I necessarily believe it. Hyatt, ticker H, reports global pipeline of 129,000 rooms. All right. Airbus apparently delivered around 50 planes in May. They're having problems delivering planes too. It's not just Boeing. GameStop up 70%. The guy Roaring Kitty, Keith Gill, posted over $100 million stake in GameStop on Reddit. AMD launches new chips to take on leader NVDA. AMD's unveiled its latest artificial intelligence processor, detailed its plan to develop AI chips over the next 2 years in a bid to challenge industry leader NVIDIA. Autodesk appointed board member Elizabeth Raphael as its interim chief financial officer. Delta Airlines, ticker DAL, they're going to be running their largest ever transatlantic schedule this year as it sees healthy travel demand, especially on international routes. Facebook, Meta Platforms, Facebook is attracting the highest number of young adults in 3 years as it tries to shake the platform's reputation as the bastion of an older generation. Spotify company raises prices for premium plans in the United States. Sanofi, ticker SNY, moving forward with plans to spin off its consumer division. For FSLR, SPG, SO, TGT, so that's Target, Simon Property Group for solar, they were all removed from the U.S. conviction list at Goldman. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into trading on this Monday and in this new month of June, let's do that check-in on Friday's pick of the day, which was Health Equity. As I pointed out earlier in the show, you did tell us that we are anticipating their earnings afternoon. You were playing this one on Friday, really 2 full trading sessions leading into earnings. You were hoping to take advantage of a discount and see the stock move from there, feeling good about the healthcare sector on Friday. So, Bill, how did your call work out?
It worked out well. Listen, I was, I saw the SPOOs were weak going into the day. That's why I had to lower my entry point. But, I also knew that healthcare stocks were rallying in Europe. So, I like Health Equity as an earnings play. And I was like, yeah, let's pick this one. And then you look at the results. Stock opened up at $79.44. And then it fell to $79.15. And then it ran all the way up to $81.79 and closed at $81.68, which, hey, there's your 1%. But it gets better because you look at the stock this morning, it's trading $82.82, which is up another 1.4%. So Health Equity, ticker HQY, was a winner anyway way you shake it.
That was a big win there, Bill. And with that, May ended up with another win that was 22 total picks, only one flat trade for the whole month, no losers. So even with that flat trade, we are looking at a 95% win rate. If we drop that flat trade, Bill, that is 100% winning picks. So we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Hewlett-Packard pick of the day to see how June starts. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Bonney, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.